buenos días. Sí, ahora me pueden escuchar, ¿sí? Bien. Bienvenidos a todos. Me llamo Danica Santos McSwain. I am the fitness coordinator with Recreation and Wellbeing. Y tengo el honor de darles la bienvenida a esta celebración tan bonita. Esta noche es importante, no por las estolas, que son muy bonitas, sino a lo que significan. Es dedicación, crecimiento y el final de un trabajo muy duro, pero comienzo de un viaje muy bonito. And now, will the faculty and staff who have helped to uplift these students please stand? We'd like to honor you. Thank you so much. Muchas gracias. And the families of the graduates, las familias, les invito también a ponerles de pie. Sí, porque es para ustedes también. Muchas gracias. Thank you for the work you have done to uplift these students throughout their lives to be here in this moment. Muchas gracias a todos. Your sacrifices and successes have led us here. And today I have the great honor of welcoming Dr. Kadeba. Oh, just kidding. And now we will enter the graduates. If you all would please stand for the graduates. Thank you so much.
Ya me han dicho que soy buena para nada y que el aire que respiro está de más. Me han clavado en la pared contra la espada. He perdido hasta las ganas de llorar. Pero estoy de vuelta, estoy de pie y bien alerta. Es todo el cero a la izquierda, no me ve. No me asustan los misiles ni las balas. Tanta guerra me dio alas de metal. Vuelo libre, sobrevuelo las granadas. Por el suelo no me arrastro nunca más. Ya no estoy de oferta, estoy de pie y bien alerta. Es todo el cero a la izquierda, no me ve.
And now I have the honor of welcoming Dr. Kadeba, Director of the Office of Multicultural Student Affairs, to the stage. Please give her a big round of applause.
Y'all look so good. This whole room, come on, yes. Bonsoir, everyone. So this is Akwaaba season, as the OMSA team jokes around, right? Like they say that we've entered Akwaaba season, because that remains the way that I want to greet everyone during our cultural achievement ceremonies. Akwaaba means welcome in my home country of Côte d'Ivoire in West Africa, and I would like to sincerely greet you on behalf of the entire OMSA team and the Division of Student Affairs at VCU. Akwaaba family, friends, and loved ones gathered here tonight and joining us virtually from all over the country and the world. Akwaaba campus partners, faculty, staff, and every friend of OMSA here. Akwaaba to our elders and ancestors whose blessings allow us to be here today. And a heartfelt Akwaaba to our spring 2023 VCU graduates, the very reason we're gathered here tonight. So please clap for yourself. Yes. Yes. So it's important for me as OMSA director to properly welcome you to this space. We're here for a celebratory occasion, after all. The cultural achievement ceremonies give us a chance to hold that the path to being here may have been tumultuous for some, and also you are here. You gave your hearts and made it here, and your community is here to celebrate you. The Latina Achievement Ceremony has gone through many iterations over the past few years, but what never misses is how heartfelt the ceremony ends up being, for all the ways it is designed to embrace a beautifully rich culture and heritage. Go back in time with me and the OMSA team just for a little to reflect over the past year. A year that was full of adventures and celebrations of Latin culture. Perhaps you attended Professor Nadal's talk on Afro-Colombian representation in the movie Encanto. There's more. Maybe you were one of the 100+ students who joined us for the Latina faculty, staff, and students mixer and Bienvenida in September. Maybe you came to eat delicious foods at these events and also visit our wonderful student workers and hang out in the office. And you know, if you became an office regular, I likely kept asking you if you ate today or drank some water, because you know, that's my auntie business. And I've also been learning how to say auntie in many languages, so I guess I should say that's my tia business. Yup. Maybe you attended and learned from the perspective of queer Latinas discussing life, love, and Latinidad. Or just maybe you came dancing with us at Monroe Park during Latin Dance Night series. Right, yes. I'm still trying to remember my merengue steps, so, you know. Maybe you attended meetings or social events held by the wonderful student organizations on campus, such as SACNAS, the Society for the Advancement of Chicanos, Hispanics, and Native Americans in Science. That's right, shout out. Or LSA, the Latinx Student Association. That's right, LSA in the house. Or maybe tonight is your first time that you're interacting with the OMSA office. Either way, we're honored to show up for you and shower you with love and praise today. In the world we navigate every day, the sort of love I'm speaking about is necessary and revolutionary. I remain amazed by the ways our Latin and Hispanic students care for one another and hold close to your heart's values such as the importance of family and community. And I think that's what makes a space like today so special. One of our lovely graduate assistants reminded me something I mentioned recently, and I shared with her over the past year, which is that a space and/or an interaction does not have to be clinical to be therapeutic. This remains the intention behind all our efforts at OMSA, and I hope the moments you shared with the office have been healing. For today, may you feel seen and loved. May you recognize how unique you are as we rejoice to celebrate you. I am so humbled and excited to utter the following words. Congratulations, Spring 2023 VCU graduates. We're so proud of you.
And for our next speakers, I was just reminiscing last year, these student speakers made me cry. So if anybody needs a tissue, we've already got them prepared up front. But I would love to welcome our student speakers, Ariana Quiroga, class of 2023, Bachelor of Science in Psychology with a minor in Education, to the stage. Ariana.
Hello, buenas tardes. My fellow graduates, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Ariana Quiroga. I am a first-generation Boliviana, and I am honored to be standing before you today. Like me, many of you are first generation, and many of you are first to graduate. Whatever your first today may be, I am grateful to share them with you. As Latinos, we are part of the 82% that graduated high school, the 32% that attended college, and the 23% that graduated from college. It's sad to say it, but the odds were never in our favor, which makes today all the more special. I remember that first day as a VCU student, that bittersweet feeling of new beginnings mixed with fear and uncertainty. Luckily, I found my VCU family by joining Latinx Student Association, an organization of which many of you are a part of. LSA is a community of students that not only share a cultural background, but take pride in identifying as Latina and seek to educate their community on the beauty of their culture. I wear many hats across this campus, but I have to say, being LSA president is by far my favorite. It is here where I made friendships to last a lifetime, shared heartwarming moments, and experienced countless memories that I will cherish forever. But with these amazing 4 years that I've had, I've found myself feeling like that first day freshman these past few weeks. Many of us came in with a detailed plan, but quickly found that there is no such thing. The future is a scary place, but that's okay. It's okay to not know where you're going or what your immediate plans are. 4 years is a long time. However, we have a lifetime ahead of us. If you remember only one thing from your time spent here, remember the mistakes. Today serves as proof that you are capable, intelligent, and resourceful. You've lived through them, learned from them, and through it all, you are still graduating. The pandemic changed our lives in the spring of 2020, our freshman year. This class adjusted to college life, then to virtual learning, then back to in-person college life. You are the most relentless bunch of graduates that have ever walked these streets, and there is not a doubt in my mind that you will conquer any obstacles that come your way. There will be times in your life when you will look around the room you're in and see no one that looks like you. You'll find yourself questioning things and questioning your decisions, saying things like, am I worthy? Did I work hard enough? I don't deserve this. Why am I here? The answer? Because you did the damn work. Te pusiste las pilas, le echaste ganas, and you did the damn work. There is a term that I have become all too familiar with as a Latina pursuing higher education, imposter syndrome. The feeling of self-doubt and not belonging, afraid that people will think you're a fraud, you feel like an imposter. I am here to tell you that that will never be true. Yes, you are a part of the 23% that graduated from college, but you are and always will be 100% worthy. This moment is all you're doing. No one else stayed up till 4 a.m. finishing that lab report. No one else begged for a swipe from a freshman. And no one else waited for a Ramsafe in the pouring rain. You did the work. You are the reason you are standing here today. Never let anyone tell you otherwise. And when you reach these goals, remember that you are not alone. I'm here today because of my parents, because of my mother, the person who supports me no matter what, and because of my father, the person that would give me the shirt off his back if it was the last thing he had. We are all descendants of immigrants, ancestors who came before us and did what they had to do to give us a better opportunity. And on what may be one of the most important days of our lives, don't forget that this moment will not be the only moment in your lives that you will make your family proud. But whatever your future has in store for you, be sure to do it with pride. Natalia Lafourcade said it best when she sang, "Yo te llevo dentro hasta la raíz, y por más que crezca vas a estar aquí." This world belongs to you. It belongs to all of us. But no matter how far you travel, no matter where you end up, never forget where you came from. Nunca te olvides de que nadie tiene el poder de destruir tus sueños. Y nunca te olvides que cada fracaso es un paso más cerca al éxito. Never forget that you belong to something much greater than all of us. Por los hijos de mis hijos y los hijos de tus hijos. Pay it forward. Reach out your hands for the rest. Never stop fighting for yourself, for your family, and for your culture. Thank you, and congratulations to the VCU class of 2023. ¡Felicidades!
Hanging in there, right, everybody? Our next student speaker, Stephanie Mora, class of 2023, Bachelor of Science in Criminal Justice with a minor in Forensic Crime Scene Investigation.
Good afternoon and welcome parents, friends, faculty, staff, and graduates. Buenas tardes y bienvenidos facultad, padres, amigos, y graduados. I am beyond grateful and honored to have been given the opportunity to be a student speaker at the 2023 Latin graduation ceremony. My parents were 15 years old and expecting me when they came to the US. They knew from the beginning they wanted a better life for me with more opportunities. I was born in Georgetown, Texas, but my parents realized that was not where they wanted to raise me and made the decision to move to Virginia. For that, I thank them, because otherwise I would not be standing here today. From a young age, it was instilled in me that I had to go to college and there was no other option. I am the first grandchild from both sides of my family, the first to graduate from high school, and the first to attend a 4-year university, and now to graduate from a university. As I am sure many other first-generation students go through, it was very difficult for me to get through the application process when applying to colleges. But when VCU accepted me, so many thoughts and emotions rushed through my mind. When I came to orientation, I fell in love with VCU and knew I was going to be happy here. I knew I was going to be homesick, as many of us are from time to time. I also knew that being the oldest of 4 siblings and leaving my boyfriend behind was going to be a challenge, but I had so many things to look forward to. When the fall semester started, my freshman year, I did not have housing on campus or in Richmond. I drove Monday through Friday from Manassas to Richmond and back every day until early November. This put a strain on my grades, and when the semester ended, I was put on academic probation. I wanted to give up and quit. I was so embarrassed because I went from being a top student in high school to basically failing. Then the pandemic came and took many people away from us, including my baby sister, Salome. This was the hardest thing my family has been through. As I was debating taking a semester off to be with my family and help my mother, she convinced me to stay and told me to go at my own pace, because in the end, what is important is that you cross that finish line. Later on, my parents were able to buy a house, and I was fortunate enough to live there by myself, shortening my commute from 4 hours to barely an hour. Even though it was a blessing to have my own space, I had to cook for myself more often, have lunches and dinners alone, and felt very lonely at times. But this is what pushed me to be part of the Latin Student Association, Young Democrats at VCU, and to be a mentor for you first. I thank VCU for all the opportunities it has given me, resources for first-generation students, and my internship with the Virginia State Capitol. I am also very thankful for the amazing friendships I have made here. I have worked so hard, as many of us have here today, to obtain this degree. Almost gave up after so many ups and downs in the last 4 years, but then I remembered who I was doing this for. That little girl that found it so difficult to speak English and was in ESOL for most of her school years. To show myself I can do anything I set my mind to, and I can accomplish anything I desire. This was my parents' dream for me. para mis padres que llegaron sin nada y me lo dieron todo. Gracias mamá y papá, mi hermana y mejor amiga Samantha, mis hermanitos y Jimmy. Quisiera terminar con un poema de Poetry by Sally. No somos los mismos. I am not just first generation. I am my mother's tears, my mother's childhood dreams, todos sus sueños de niña. I am my father's calloused hands, my father's exhaustion and silence, su deseo de haber tenido un trabajo que no sea debajo del sol. I am my sister's key in life, my brother and sister's hopes and aspirations, sus ganas de ser como su hermana mayor. Yo soy el ranchito de mis abuelitos, my grandparents' trauma and suffering, así que no soy como cualquiera, soy el comienzo de una gran historia. Congratulations to all the first generation and Latino graduates. Sí se puede. Thank you.
We're going to get through it, everybody, I promise. And now I have the opportunity to introduce our keynote speaker, Dr. Jose Trevino. Dr. Jose is the chair of the Division of Surgical Oncology at the VCU School of Medicine and surgeon-in-chief at VCU Massey Cancer Center. He also holds the Walter Lawrence Jr. Distinguished Professor of Oncology at Massey and is an associate professor in the Department of Surgery, VCU College of Medicine. His most recent groundbreaking research on ethnic subgroups and pancreatic cancer outcomes, published in the Journal of Cancer Medicine, is one of the first to examine the connection between disease and ancestral racial diversity among Black and Latino populations. Dr. Trevino.
Buenas tardes. You know, how do I follow that, right? So Stephanie, Ariana, that was deep. I mean, listen, if you take this suit off and you see me in the streets, me ven en la calle, right? You're gonna realize that I don't really resonate. I don't really resonate to the degrees in what I've done. And so today, as much as I'd like to say this in español, quisiera hablar totalmente en español. This is for the graduates. This is for you to listen. This is for you to hear. Kind of let you know what I've done to get to where I'm at. So this is me. I was born in Mexico, Monterrey, in 1975, right? And so it's funny because I listen to Ariana and Stephanie talk, and everything that they say is real. I mean, that's my life, right? My grandparents, farmers, my dad, worked in the fields. They all did that. And one day they decided to come to this country and get me here. But like I said, this is Monterrey. This is where I grew up. That's pictures of me. And it's funny because when I show this picture, nobody knows what this is. There's obviously this piñata, right? But people are laughing because they don't know what it is. I tell you, it's a piñata. And it's hanging on a clothes wire or a clothes hanger, right? And this is where we used to live as kids, right? And that's me and my sister. So I hate to say it, but humble, right? It's where we come from. It's who we are. And again, this is for the graduates to understand. So mom and dad, listen, and hopefully you can catch a hold of this, but I can promise you, every one of you graduates, your parents have been through this, just like me. So in 1979, I came to Chicago. That's where my dad got his job. And I lived in La Villita, Little Mexico. And this was a rough little neighborhood back in the day. Still is, actually. And, fights all the time, right? You're Latino, you're living in a Latino neighborhood, and you got problems every day to school, back and forth. And along the way, you start to envelop who we are as a group, as a culture, and you bring it all together. This was me in grade school. Now, pay attention to this picture. This was back in the day. Notice that every single one of those students is Latino. every one. But you want to know why? It wasn't because of this room, right? Because you'd be like you going to class 3 months ago and all being Latinos. They segregated us when we were kids. They took us, all the Latinos, and they said, let's put them in this class because guess what? They might not learn as well as everybody else. They might need special attention. They might need a little bit extra help. You could look at that a million ways. I looked at it as, that's kind of, you're segregating me. You're making me feel like I don't belong, that I belong in this group and not in the whole group. So again, very much like Ariana and Stephanie mentioned, there was a lot of an imposter syndrome, even at a very young age. So what do you do when you're segregated? People don't believe in you. They don't expect you to do well. You rebel, right? You stand up and say, I'm not going to deal with this nonsense. Why should I feel inferior to you? Why should you make me feel like I'm not who I am? So you rebel, right? And what does teenagers do when they rebel? They get in trouble. They get in trouble with the law. They get in trouble with each other. They get in trouble with their parents. They get in trouble with everything. But my first run-in with the Chicago Police Department, I was 7 years old. And that's the earliest I rebelled. Now again, we'll get to a point where I am now. But I got arrested at 7 years of age, okay? So as I started to get older, I just got angrier. Why was I angry? All my friends were gone. Some were dead. They've been killed in the streets. Majority of them didn't make it to junior high, let alone high school. They quit school, right, to work. And I was angry because I was pretty much singled out and still in school. And my dad would tell me, I don't care what you do. I don't care what time you get home. You just make sure you're up for school in the a.m. And I can tell you some stories to make you guys laugh for days on the stuff that I would do. But my dad, mi papá, would say, you better be up in the morning for school. And it came to a point that I rebelled so much, I got in trouble every single day in school. I was being sent to the principal's office every day, and every day they would send me to detention. I think for a whole 2 years, I was in detention every single day. Like, I get out of school at 3 o'clock. I didn't get out of school till 5 because I had 2 hours of detention that I had to sit there. And it was funny because in that time, guess what I did? I did my homework. I did my schoolwork. And they got so mad at me because I kept on doing my homework and giving me more time to go mess around after 5 o'clock that my principal stopped giving me detention. He just started making me do 100 push-ups every day. Every time I got in trouble, 100 push-ups. Every time I got in trouble, run around the school 10 times. I'm like, Jesus, But it was tough, right? And as I started to progress and still be angry at the world, right? I was a Mexicano, I was Latino, and I was mad because you, and when I say you, I mean the society wouldn't allow me to succeed. And so they would say, Trevino will end up either in jail or dead. And that was said many more times by people that should have been supporting me, mentoring me, sponsoring me. And then one day I just said, I'm just not gonna deal with this anymore. I'm gonna do something that I'm really good at and do it well. Besides the fact that I was studying all the time because I was in detention all the time, I was actually getting good grades. But then all of a sudden one day, I got into something that helped me. I got into wrestling, right? So this is the kind of a sport where you could take somebody down and beat them up a little bit, and I got really good at it too, because that was my anger, boy. I was coming to school angry. This is what I would do in the end of the day, and I was good. I was like, damn, I'm gonna do this. This is gonna be really good. And it's funny because 1 year out of my high school, there's only 2 that made it to that state championship, and it was Treviño and Villarreal. And I'm like, wow, you got 2 Latinos at the top of their game. And yeah, it was a sport. But we were 2 Latinos out of the whole school. The only 2 people were Latinos that were making it to the championships. And that gave me this sense of pride, something that I hadn't had before. And I felt that this was it, right? So I grew, right? I started to mature into this level of being Latino, being proud of who I was. And then I wasn't going to be an imposter. I was going to be a leader. You were going to impose on me. You're going to want to be like me. And my dad would always say something, and this is something that I hope that it resonates to everybody in this room, that don't ever dismiss anyone, because that's what happened to a lot of people in my generation from Latino backgrounds or Latina backgrounds, is that we were dismissed for a lot of reasons. And my dad always said, you can always learn two things from someone, how to be and how not to be, and that's the truth. No matter who you are, whether you think it's the guy that's laying on the street or the president of the United States, you can learn a lot from people. And that's one thing or the other, and that's to be or not to be. I thought I've always learned from that. And so let me tell you a little bit about me. See where that arrow is? That's where you guys are at, okay? So imagine doing another 4 years of medical school, doing another 2 years of surgical residency training, followed by another 2 years of research fellowship, followed by another 3 years of surgical residency, followed by another 2 years of surgical oncology fellowship, followed by another year of research, and then add another 10 years, and this is where I am. So let's add them up, right? 4 college, 4 medical school, 7 of surgical residency, and 3 of fellowship before I got my first job. And that's the truth. And let me tell you, along that way, I failed a lot. A lot. A lot. But you know, you got up and you took it every day. And so you hear this a lot. You can't do it. What's so important about the word you can't? When someone says you can't. So people always say, why did I go to medical school? Because someone said I couldn't. And that's the truth. When I applied for college, which is where you guys are graduating from now, I didn't apply till the day before the applications were due. I applied to 2 schools. And I applied to both of them in pencil to make it funnier, right? Because I didn't care. And the only reason I went to college is because my dad said I had to go. And once I got into college, I realized, hey, you know what? I'm in college now. Now what are you going to do? I'm like, I don't know. I said, what's there to do in college? I mean, literally, these are the conversations going on in my crazy little head. And the answers were, someone says, you can go try to do pre-med. I'm like, okay, I'll do pre-med. And then someone said, well, that's really hard. And I said, nah, I'm doing pre-med now for sure. Right? Let's do it, right? So it continued to be that way my entire life. And I can give you a story that very much like that little picture you saw of all those grade school students, all the Latinos, interestingly enough, in 1997, when I went to my first year of undergraduate, I know it seems like forever ago, they segregated us again in this program called the Howard Hughes Program in Biology. And I thought, whew, I'm in an honor program for biology, boy. I'm gonna be like, this is it. I'm gonna be like in a really cool class. Well, guess what? That class was full of 60 Latinos. Almost like only 60 Latinos were in this class. And they were all pre-med, like me. And I don't even want to tell you how many of those Latinos are doctors today. You want to talk about a 20% graduation rate here? Only 2 are doctors today out of that 60 in that year. And that should say something to you, that you guys are at a pivotal point in your life where people are always going to tell you, you can't do this. And then ask me why I chose to go into surgical residency, which is to be a surgeon. Because again, someone said, you can't do it, it's really hard. Whoop, I want to be a surgeon. And then the next thing, someone said, why do you want to do surgical oncology? Why do you want to cut cancer out of people? I don't know. I said, is it hard? They're like, yeah, it's really hard. I guess I'm doing that too. And then why pancreatic surgery, which is probably one of the more complicated surgeries you'll ever do? Again, because my life has been filled with challenges and people telling me, you can't. And my orgullo was demonstrating to them I could, and watch me do it. And I did. So this is who I am, right? I operate, but I also do a lot of research. And so why do I do research? Because that's what's going to make the difference, because I'm not going to be an imposter. I'm going to be the leader in where I am and what I do. And that is what drives me. And so it's interesting, right? So you can look at me up here, and some of you might be able to still see that angry little boy when I was a child, because it's still there. But instead of being in a negative fashion, I drove my energy into a positive direction where I now deal with the things I have to do. But along the way, listen, this is the best advice I'll give you along the way in your lives as you graduate and maneuver into the next phases. And I'm hoping that all of you go into a graduate college or go to medical school or do something or nursing school or physical therapies or occupational therapy, whatever you choose, is that you don't forget this, that the critical decisions that I made in my life were made by people who helped me. And the ones in there that I love the most, Jorge Girotti and Jose Cintron and Joseph Espat, were just great Latinos that were just like, you're a Latino. And we did this, and you can do it too. And they were my mentors. They were my sponsors. They were the people that were going to help me along the way. And remember that along your path, while your mom and dad are amazing and they are the reason you are here today, don't forget that there are people that you have to pick up along your life that will hopefully help you get to that next level, to that level of success. And so I do cancer surgery, and I always ask myself, why cancer? Because you have to have a struggle, a purpose. The reason you're here and you're graduating, and the reason you decided to do 4 years to get your degrees, because you had a purpose. You found a struggle, and you wanted to make it work. And for me, it's cancer. That's my struggle now. That's what I deal with on a daily basis. I deal with people that have a bad disease, that are dying. And that is my struggle that I picked up along the way. And you all have to find that struggle. You all have to find that passion, what's going to drive you to be the best that you are. And I'm not saying you have to go out and be a doctor or be a surgeon or whatever you choose. It's that you be great and passionate about what you do. I will tell you that I might not look it, but I've lived long enough to know that what makes somebody great is when they pursue what they love and they're passionate about. And let me tell you, there's nothing more important in this life than following your heart and your passions along the way. So this is my fight. Everybody that has cancer dies, for the most part, within 5 years. That's a hell of a fight, right? When someone says, again, they say, you can't increase the survival rate, Dr. Trevino. And I tell them, watch me, right? Again, that's my fight. That's what I pick up. And this is what I do. So I envelop everything, right? I envelop science, I envelop surgery, I envelop the gifts that God gave me to be a great surgeon and do great work. And this is my goal, is to overcome the challenges of people with cancer. And I ask the hardest questions, right? Because remember, why do I do this? It's because somebody said it was hard. And I will tell you that I'm so proud to be in an institution like this that has helped me answer some of these horrible questions about cancer, and has done a wonderful job doing it. So I love this slide. For those of you guys that can see this, this is where we are, the importance of who we are. So we're all Latinos, but do we know that our ancestry could be so different whether you're from California or whether you're from Miami? And that is incredibly important, that you know not only that you're Latino, but where you come from, because at the end of the day, the entire country is going to change by the year 2060, that this country is going to be half minority, underrepresented minority, which we won't be underrepresented by then, and then it'll be half white. And so this is the time for us to take control of your own destiny as well as your future and others, if you can, to help them. So at Massey, we do a lot of great stuff, and this is the cancer center that is right around here that most of you guys, some of you guys know, hopefully all of you guys know, but it's an incredible cancer center that works toward the research that we're at and doing some great works. And so my work is really vast. I have an incredible team of people that look at a whole host of things that, guess what, look at you. Because at the end of the day, what I know is that Latinos and Latinas are an incredible population of people. And that if we study certain aspects of who we are in our culture, we will find answers about cancer. And if I told you what my research was about and told you that I actually look at Latinos and Latinas with cancer and look at their outcomes and how being a Latino has benefit in some cancers and not in others, you ask the next set of questions as to why. Why does that happen? Why is it during COVID that Latinos were affected more than others? Why? What's the deal with that? And these are the questions that you have to ask yourself. So as you pursue higher education and pursue your careers, I think you take it to heart, because the work that I do works around race, ethnicity, Latinos and Latinas, etc. So I brought it all the way around. I circled it, and I brought it home because that's passionate to me. Not only am I passionate about cancer, but I'm also passionate about our race and our ethnicity and how being underrepresented affects us in our outcomes. So that's important. Last bit of advice for you graduates, and again, very much congratulations, and I'm proud of the fact that in this room I see what I see. You know, I have to say that Ariana and Stephanie really kind of brought it home with their talk, and I'm sure every one of you could give a very similar speech, but I'm so proud to be in front of you and just seeing that you will all be the leaders of tomorrow, one way or the other. And again, it gives me a lot of pride. So last bit of advice, consejo. Never give up on your passion, because your passion will be your happiness. Overcome adversity. Again, people will always tell you you can't. Don't ever give up. Because if you give up, you don't give up on anybody but yourself. And that is the worst person you want to disappoint. Take the easy road. Trust me, do it. Don't be like me. I took every chance I could to make my life more difficult, and it doesn't have to be that way. It really doesn't. My road was difficult. It didn't have to be, but take the easy road, if that's my advice. And always look back. Remember where you come from. Remember where your parents came from. Remember where your grandparents came from. I would tell my friends all the time, carry your flag on your back, that have pride in who you are. And when people look at you, they should know that you're Latino or Latina. And you should carry that with you with orgullo, with pride. Hold it strong and let people know where you come from, because that's what makes you who you are. And remember that you carry the legacy of hundreds of people before you in your bloodline. And so don't forget where you came from. So last bit, this is me graduating from my surgical residency. You won't ever see me smile like that ever again, trust me. I was so happy to be done with 7 years of training, but this is what I do. I operate and I do research. And while I have a ton of these on my wall, a ton, what really makes me happy is pictures like this of the cancer patients that I treat that draw me pictures all the time. And so my diplomas are down. Those are up, because my diplomas mean, they're what I did. But this, changing someone's life, it makes me really happy about who I am. And this is her. But at the end of the day, this is why we do this, for our patients, for the people that we really work with. And at the end of the day, regardless of what you do, you will always influence somebody one way or the other. And in this room, there are tons of mentors and sponsors and people who have supported you and guided you. And at the end of the day, that's why you do this, not only for yourself, but for them as well. So I congratulate everybody for their great accomplishment today, and I thank you so much for allowing me to be the keynote speaker.
Okay, we have arrived, and now it is time to recognize our graduates. I'll welcome to the stage Isis Garcia Rodriguez, graduate teaching assistant in her almost last year of her PhD. Snaps for that. So please come to the stage. And then I believe we'll start welcoming our graduates after you. We're ready. Okay. Okay. Hola, hola. ¿Ya me han ido? Pues ya lloré, reí, y ahora a nombrar a todos, ¿verdad? Well, thank you so much, everyone. What we're going to have, we're going to start calling some folks up. I'm going to call your name, and then we're going to have y'all direct over here for your stole. Please pause for a photo, and then we'll have someone direct you back to your seat. Okay? Wait.
We have to call you and announce you.
Están emocionados. Okay. ¿Están listos? ¡Un aplauso! Despacio, la foto. Okay. Okay. Ariana Quiroga. Stephanie Mora. Florencia Acebo. Frida Almayer. Annelies Alvarado. Tatiana Angulo. Jenny Arroja Andrade. Leslie Benítez Hernández. Ruth Bravo Anés. Mary Burgos.
Joana Calix Vivanco. Jaslyn Camacho. Grecia Cárdenas. Andrea Chávez. Emily Chirinos Molina. Nicole Concepción Aquino. Kimberly Cortés López. Daniela Frausto. Maybelline Galdames. Doctora Dina García. Cindy García Mejía. Caroline Gutierrez. Sheila Hernández Salazar. Patricia Hernández. Amal Ibuchola. I'm so sorry. Sara Lainez. Santiago López. Amelie Lutz. William Majano. Michelle Mardini. Eva Méndez. Elías Méndez. Brenda Mesa. Daniela Negrete. Vanessa Olazabal. Laura Oresco Rotela. Steven Pocar González. Alexandra Pereira López. Mayrín Pérez Rodríguez. Eva Ramírez. Stephanie Ramírez. Matías Reed. calmo. Ok. Eduardo Rivera. Freya Rodríguez. Jacqueline Ruiz Paiva. Anthony Sabrera Quispe. Sonali Sangvan. Doctora Arleni Santana. Hillary Cejas Cies. Daniela Stapor. Ahora sí lloré. Ok. Estela Vázquez Pérez. Kelly Velázquez Pérez. Ok, felicidades a todos. Gracias, gracias. Y terminamos con una chapina.
Thank you again so much. Felicitaciones a todos nuestros graduados, sus familias y sus amigos. Este momento es para todos, por sus sacrificios y sus logros. Nuestra universidad es mejor gracias a ustedes. I remember my graduation day, plural, graduation days. I felt so much pride seeing my family that flew thousands of miles to come congratulate me in that special, special moment. Receiving a surprise award, there's a very wonderful picture of me just in shock, and that's what I was feeling, seeing that adorable, I think the best donor we've seen so far. And it was just such a relief to be done. I think exactly what Dr. Trevino was saying, like, no more papers, no more classes, we're done, right? But the scary and exciting truth is that we're never done learning. We are all lifelong learners. And to learn, you have to be brave. You have to be vulnerable to accept that change is coming. And so right now, I work with students over at the Cary Street Gym. I just had someone in my office crying yesterday. I don't know what I'm gonna do next. I don't know what's ahead in my life. And that fear is a really beautiful opportunity to try something and just see what happens. This generation gets wrongly labeled all the time. As an adjunct professor, I worked with first-year students who have said, we've been called lazy, we've been the COVID generation, and it just doesn't sit right with me because what I see is a lot of change makers. What I hear are discussions that really push against the systems that exist. You all are existing in a form of activism that doesn't require words or actions, but it's in your existence and being here right now. And that is so powerful, and I am really in awe of each and every one of you. Holding on to my tears. And with that, the interconnection between our current actions and our potential future is an exciting opportunity to seek change, not tomorrow, but right now. And that's the opportunity that you all have created for yourselves. Every day, when you stayed up late doing those crazy study sessions, when you were rushing to class, to work, to home, wherever it might have been, those hours have added up to be here in this moment. And you never have to do it alone. So now we ask that you turn to the people who have held you up when the world turned upside down. Yes, those people who stood beside you, the people who paved the way for you to be here and assisted you, carrying you along when it was just so hard to carry forward. We may come from many different backgrounds, but there is a shared Latinidad. De donde seamos, hemos cultivado identidades distintas. Y esos viajes variados nos conectan. Today, we want to take a moment to raise our flags and recognize the roots we carry within us. In all of our journeys, graduates, yes, wave those flags. We love to see it. We appreciate you so much. And as a celebration of this momentous occasion, there is a reception in your honor. But we're still getting it set up. So for that reason, we would actually like to pivot and ask all of our graduates to please come and stand to take a giant picture because our turnout was far bigger than it was last year. So we'd love you to come onto the stage and take a big picture all together, and then we'll head to the fun after this. So please, all of our graduates, please stand and please come up to the front of the stage for one last congratulations. Yeah. Let's get you. Do you need me to help?
It's like so
Mess up the simplest thing.
See, they're too loud.
Pero, ahora. Rápido, rápido. All right. Thank you.
Alrighty, folks. Okay, a little more time, if you want to take your seats. Almost done, I promise. Everybody's ready. But as a celebration of this momentous occasion, like I mentioned, there is a reception that is getting set up right now, sponsored by the Office of Inclusion and Engagement and Philanthropy, as well as the Office of Alumni Relations. That's about to be y'all. And the Office of Multicultural Student Affairs. While we are here to celebrate you completing an incredible achievement, you are a Ram for life. You are a part of this Ramily. I know it gets cheesy, but once you graduate, you're gonna miss hearing that. And thus begins your journey into the VCU alumni world. So I think it's gonna come up, but at our reception, we are going to have a churro bar with a pre-made menu. So if you have any questions or allergies, you can let us know and we'll be able to help you out. Our volunteers will be outside of the doors there. Yep, right here. So if any allergy issues, feel free to let us know. We can make you one custom made. And then the alumni and staff at the reception want to meet you and hear about your successes and your plans for the future. So please come talk to us. Don't be afraid to share. We really want to hear your stories. This was for you all, by you all, and we want to continue to see that grow. We've been in your shoes, and we can learn a lot from each other. I continuously learn from you all. So congratulations again. And as the celebration continues, we'll ask that you please exit through these doors, and the reception will be back to the right. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your celebration.